once again, we are set for another edition of Your Life Matters with clinical social worker Dr. Beth Plachetka from Safe Harbor Counseling and Dr. Beth Speaks. And Dr. Plachetka joins us again via the phone lines. Good morning, Dr. Beth.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. I love this time of year, you know? It's great.
Yeah? What makes it so good?
Well, you know, I always liked the beginning of school. It was a fun time for me. And our family has lots of birthdays and things this time of year.
Oh, okay.
So it's fun.
Yeah, I think the kids that are heading back or already back in school are kind of looking at you like, really? This is my least favorite time of year. No, of course, some kids do enjoy going back to school at this time, and it's a very fun time for moms and dads and a teacher like yourself for many years. This was always an exciting time of year. So today, hopefully folks heard last week's show. We kind of got things started with a two-part series on improving our mental health. Today, part two, where are we going with today's topic?
Well, I just want our listeners to have an opportunity to hear about a couple of the types of ways that we miss things and our lives become an illusion, like it's not based on solid reality, because they're very easy things to miss that we're doing. The first one, and I know you're going to recognize this, is unintentional blindness. Now, maybe not by the title, but it's exactly what it sounds like. We don't see what we're not looking for. So, you know, we've seen that there's been motorcycle awareness campaigns. Why? Because they want us to make sure that we're not looking for just cars in front of us, just two taillights instead of one. They want motorcycle riders to be safe. I could say that right now, let's think about a pink elephant. And you wouldn't have been thinking about a pink elephant at all, except that idea popped into our head. And it'll probably pop in a couple more times today before you let that one pass. I remember, you know, people tell me when they're pregnant, all they see is other pregnant women. There's so many people who are pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10 years later, they're like, what happened to all the pregnant people?
Right.
They're still there. You're just not noticing. So it's a very easy thing to fall into. You know, people, if it doesn't apply to them, if they don't think it applies to them, or they're not even aware that it exists, like, for example, subliminal messages in movies. You know, when you have a certain product with the product name happens to be facing out, that's not accidental, but you suddenly are going to have some sort of reminder of that. So sometimes we think it doesn't apply, or we're not interested. You know, types of cars, to me, I can't tell you the difference. It's not something I notice.
Right.
Or we get distracted, or we're thinking about something else, like when we miss our exit on the highway. We were thinking about something else because we knew it was coming up. So inattentional means we're not paying attention, and then we don't see it. The other one, the remedies for both of these are the same, so I'm going to put them together. It's a willing suspension of disbelief. It's a little trickier with the words, but disbelief, of course, means that we know it's not true, and yet we deny that it's not true. We tell ourselves, oh, it's true, when we know better. So movies do this all the time. Chase scenes. Somebody's on the outside of the car, hanging out, zipping in and out of traffic, falls off, rolls down the street, jumps up, and runs after whatever they're running after. That doesn't really happen. But we enjoy the scene. You know, or when we see somebody, you know, in a relationship and they fall in love immediately. Usually doesn't happen. We have to not believe that.
Sure.
When we do believe it, what happens is sometimes that physically we try it ourselves and we get hurt. We emotionally get hurt because we believe that things can happen, or we pretend that things can happen that quickly. Or, and this is really hard on people, we change our values and our priorities to fit into something, say, at work or into the neighborhood atmosphere that doesn't really apply to us. Nothing wrong, but it's not good for us. So what we want to do is pay attention to these things really do exist, and when you notice it happening, be gentle with yourself and take a step back. Get back to yourself. The earlier you notice that you're doing it in a relationship, a job, behaviors, whatever, the easier it is to correct. And that's sometimes where we help in therapy, because people will come in, they'll say, I'm doing these things, and then as we talk, they uncover where they arrived at that conclusion. And once they notice it, things get a lot better.